We will be starting in the next few minutes. Thank you for being so patient. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Prachna. So, am I audible? Could anyone tell me if I'm audible?
You're audible, Prajna.
Okay, thank you. So, let us start off and let me introduce you to what we are going to do today. So, as we all know, today is November 14th, which is Children's Day. So, on Children's Day, usually we have, celebrations and we, talk with our friends and we watch movies. But one thing that I think is very important is also to raise awareness on Children's Day because children
Rajni,
are,
hello.
hello?
Yeah, can you start after 5 minutes? Because
Oh,
still yet people are yet to join.
okay, I'll start in 5 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
It's okay.
அப்போ எனக்கு மீட்டிங் போயிட்டு முடியறதுக்கு 7:30 கிட்ட ஆகும். நான் முடிச்சுட்டு கால் பண்றேன். அது அப்படியே
பிரதீப் ஆண்டனியை விட்டுறலாம் நீங்க.
Hi everyone. I just want to pop in to say that there is a technical issue. So there is a technical issue since more people are registered than anticipated, which is a good thing. But we did have to shift to Zoom because there were more people coming. So more people are shifting from Gmeet to Zoom. So we will be really happy if you are patient. We will be starting within 5 to 7 minutes. So thank you for your patience.
Camera.
I'll shift my camera so you can see me better. Hello everyone. Am I audible? Could anyone just tell me if I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible. That's not.
Okay, so hello everyone. We can start now. So my name is Prachna and I'm currently serving as a CAT leader. So if there's anyone new here and are confused as to what CAT is an organization under Mary Ann Charity Trust, and CAT stands for Children Against Tobacco, and we will be talking more about this as we go on. So the reason why we wanted to do this on Children's Day, because usually during Children's Day we have celebrations and we have festivities, but I think it's equally important to raise awareness and to tell children that they are the future adults and their future is in their hands, and health is one of the most important things to become a healthy adult. So that's why we wanted to hold this webinar, which is about tobacco control, on Children's Day. So now I would like to welcome my dear friend Shakina Barik to deliver the welcome address.
I actually hope that I'm audible to everyone over here.
Yes, you are audible. You may continue.
Good morning to one and all gathered here. I am Sakina Barik, and I am more than delighted to welcome you all to this awareness webinar, which is actually meant to enlighten us about this tobacco control environment, which is organized by CAT, which is also under the Mary Ann Charity Trust. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome our two main keynote speakers, starting with Atul Matthews, who is currently studying in UK. Moreover, he was also a CAT leader and is more than grateful to share this stage once again with you. With heart bearing of gratitude, let's welcome Atul Matthews once again. Next up, I would like to welcome Prachna Arun, who also happens to be one of my close friends, who is currently serving her time as a current CAT leader on the lead. She is going to broaden our knowledge about tobacco-free school environments. And last but not least, I would also like to thank the audience, you all, who have shown this unwavering support of this initiative. To summarize, This was Sakina Parekh, and let's welcome our keynote speakers, Atul Matthews and Fajra Arun once again.
Thank you, Shakina. That was wonderful. And I would also like to welcome everyone to keep their cameras on to make this a more of an interactive experience. And if your camera is not working, that is also completely fine. But if you're able to keep your camera on, we highly recommend it. Thank you all. So now I would like to welcome Atul Matthews to start talking about his experience as a former CAT leader.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
You're
we can
audible.
hear you.
Yeah, just excuse me, I'm a little sick, so my voice is kind of, yeah. Anyway, hi, I'm Atul Mathia, a former CAT leader. I just want to thank Cyril sir and his team for giving me this opportunity. So I'll just quickly share my experience with CAT and what we did. So when I first started off, it was more of an educational thing. So we learnt about the different tobacco products and their chemical composition and the harm it does to the body. So it was like a 2-week course, and they took us through it very in a very seamless manner. So we had a booklet and we had presentations, and it wasn't too overbearing in the sense there were a lot of technical things, but it was very easy to understand. So it was very interesting. So that was one of the first things we did. So after that, so at the time, the team was releasing a tobacco monitoring app. So I spent a lot of time working with the team on that. So with the launch and everything, so we had an event in place. So I had to present a memorandum of what the children want in terms of like banning tobacco near schools. And we also had a play at the moment with so we were working with children nearby near the Mary Ann Charity Trust, and I also helped with that. So mostly it was crowd mobilization was the key part which I played in the event. So after that, this was one of the biggest projects I did in in as a CAT leader, which was under Cyril Sir's guidance. So it was an air pollution study around schools in Chennai. So around 20 so schools, I had to go to each one and monitor the air quality around the schools. And I wrote it as a presentation, and I had to submit it to various newspapers and so on. And then so that's where I would say Cyril sir helped me a lot. So he gave me a lot of guidance and how to write an actual report and how to use the tool and everything. So I had a lot of help in that. And so I joined CAT as a part of my class in SUPW, which is a socially useful productive work. So that's when I got to know what CAT was and who Cyril sir was. So it was supposed to be only for 20 hours, but then I ended up staying for like 2 years because it was a very interesting thing to do, and I really enjoyed my time there. So so whatever I said now was during my SUPW. I obviously extended it beyond 20 hours because it takes much more time. But then I came back and worked for CAT again in class 11 and 12. So this time it was a more like no, actually, yeah, in class 11 and 12, I was more focused on one project. So when I was doing um, when I was doing the pollution study, I was also helping with the event release. So it was kind of simultaneous and it was more hectic. But during 11th and 12th, we were just focused on one study, which was a study of compliance of COPTA Section 6, Article B. So the children, sorry, yeah, the COPTA Section 6, Article B, it says that you're not supposed to have uh, shops selling tobacco products within 100 meters of schools. So we did first we did it within the Chepauk constituency to see what shops were violating this rule. So we had to go we picked schools around Chepauk, and then we saw whether the sorry whether the stores were violating this act, if they were around 100 meters of the school and if they were selling tobacco products. And we kind of marked them down, and we wrote a small report, and we presented it to the MLA of Chepauk. And after that, we did a citywide study of the same thing, and we made it into a report, and we wrote about the impact nicotine has on teenagers. So that was the premise of the study. And we also included the data we found. So we took around 200 to 50 schools across Chennai. We divided into the zones, and we marked which places violated this Section 6, Article B, and we published it. It got published in the Bangkok Health Journal. So I was very proud of that. And yeah, so I would say that summarizes my time in CAT. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Atul. This was very nice to hear as someone who is currently in CAT. So we hope that we can also do good work. So next up, I would like to share my experience, and I would also like to talk about a tobacco-free school environment. So let me go ahead and present. Can you all see my screen? Can anyone tell me if you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see a screen.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to be speaking about tobacco-free school environment. So we all generally think that it's schools, right? So it must be tobacco-free. But the thing is that there are a lot of specifications involved. So let us go through with that. So we are going to be talking about tobacco in general, about the harmful effects. We're going to be talking about the benefits of quitting tobacco. We are going to be talking about tobacco and children, and about this organization, as well as an app which will help you to battle tobacco. So let's start off with tobacco. We all know generally like tobacco is in cigarettes and it's in other type of products as well, but it starts off as a green leafy plant that is grown in warm climates. Students who are currently studying social science might be familiar with this, but tobacco was grown in India by traders from Portugal around the 15th and the 16th century. It contains an addictive chemical called nicotine and other nearly 40 known carcinogens. And I would like to stress upon the known. There are a lot more unknown carcinogens probably, but right now we only know 40, which is already a lot. So for anyone who's not familiar with nicotine, it's a type of addictive chemical that basically when you consume tobacco in any way, nicotine goes, and because its effect on the brain will release neurotransmitter, which will regulate moods and also mood swings. So it will give you dopamine, and the point is dopamine is a happiness hormone, so it's going to make you feel happier. But the point is that it is not good for your body, and the kind of dopamine that is released is also addictive, which means you're going to go back and want to do it again. So as I've shown in the PPT, once we smoke, chew, or sniff tobacco, nicotine goes into our bloodstream and then our brains, and then there are neurotransmitters which regulate our moods, and it leaves us wanting for more nicotine. So that is about tobacco. So next, let's talk about epidemiology. So around 15 billion cigarettes are smoked per day, 1 million cancer deaths related to tobacco, 35% of Indians use tobacco, and there are nearly 4,000 chemicals, 200 poisons, and 60 carcinogens present in tobacco. Cigarettes are the main type of tobacco products, but they are not the only tobacco products. Others are BDs, gutkhas, cigars, pipe smoking, and pan. So this mainly talks about the different types of tobacco consuming that is going on in around the world actually. So now let's talk about the types of tobacco. So a question that I guess people might have is that, look, if you're trying to fight against tobacco, why are we learning about the types of tobacco? Well, as they say, in order to fight an enemy, you first have to know their moves and their strategies really well. Similarly, knowing about the types of tobacco will help you to understand the different types of tobacco that exist and say no to them when you are offered, or educate other people when they are ingesting tobacco. So let's start off with the most common one, which is smoking tobacco. That comes in many forms, such as manufactured cigarettes, which is the one that we see around we see it every day, right? We see it on roads, we see it in shops, we see people who smoke these cigarettes. There are roll your own cigarettes, which you might have seen in older movies and stuff, like, where they offer you a powder and then you kind of roll it. And then there are BDs, which I think we might be more familiar with. Pipes or something. If you know Sherlock Holmes, you've probably seen him use that long hook-like pipe. That is also a type of smoking tobacco. We have sticks, and we have, if anyone, here you can see below the water pipes text, you can see this weird contraption. This is called a hookah. And again, if you see old movies, or if you've seen like history textbooks, you might have seen hookahs. These are also a way to ingest tobacco. And actually, surprisingly, hookah bars are also there. Like, it's not just alcohol. Let's add in one more thing that's not good for you: tobacco, I suppose. So then we have these cigars. These also are seen in many old movies, and people continue to use it, but it's less common. And then, of course, you have smokeless tobacco, in which smoke is not released, but that doesn't make it any less bad for your body. We have moist snuff, dry snuff, we have dissolvable tobacco, we have chewing tobacco. So these are the various types of tobacco. So next, let's talk about the health hazards of tobacco. So we all have seen that that part of that video that comes before the movie, talking about the effects of tobacco, and we see people who suffer from it. But I think it's important to know the statistics as well, so you can get to know the chances you have of getting these hazards as well. So tobacco is the single largest cause of preventable death. I would like everyone to pay attention to preventable. This is a death that can be prevented, meaning it's not the kind of death that is going to happen. You can actually not die if you just don't smoke tobacco. It's a kind of preventable death. It prolongs your life. And more than 2,200 Indians die every day due to tobacco use. 10 lakh Indians die annually due to tobacco-related diseases, which it might not be directly related, but it is related to tobacco. And then we also have tobacco use, which is the leading cause of increasing NCD burden. So what is NCD? NCD is non-communicable disease. So, cold and cough, those are all communicable diseases where you cough and your friend gets it. But non-communicable diseases include cancer, like you can't transfer it to other person by being in contact. But it is a leading cause of disease burden. And then 40 out of 100 cancer cases in India are related to tobacco. And we can also see are due to tobacco. 90% of oral cancers are due to tobacco. 50% of all cancers in men are due to tobacco. 25% of all cancers in women is also due to tobacco. And 90% of lung cancer deaths are caused due to smoking. So next time someone offers you like tobacco by any means, or you see someone else doing it, I hope these health hazards are a reminder about what you're welcoming into your life. And next, let's talk about the harmful effects of tobacco. These are only a few. There's cancer, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, which is also known as COPD, and we have stroke. And of course, there are a lot of other diseases mentioned in the image, which I will be sharing this PPT. So if anyone wants to go through it, you can do it, but I will continue because of the limited time available. So, okay, so did you know that for an average of 14 minutes of life is lost for each cigarette smoke? Like if you ingest tobacco or you smoke, then 14 minutes of your life is just cut off. So imagine if you have like 100 cigarettes in a year, then that means you've lost like 1,400 minutes of your life, and that adds up over years. And tobacco users lose an average of 20 to 25 years of non-tobacco life expectancy, which basically means that if someone doesn't smoke like at all, and if they don't ingest tobacco in any way, they have a life expectancy. And if someone is smoking tobacco, then that life expectancy that non-smoking people have, it is almost reduced by 25 years for the smokers. And in India, one person dies every 40 seconds because of tobacco related problems. So it's like not a minute, not an hour, not a day. It's every 40 seconds a person dies due to tobacco. Let's talk about secondhand smoking. I would say that in my experience, the type of smoking that people are not at all aware of is probably secondhand smoking. We often see, videos where people smoke themselves and then they are affected by it. But what we don't see that often is how other people are affected by it. Like if someone is smoking and you are standing near them, you are also susceptible to all the hazards that come first-hand smoking. Like I would say second-hand smoking is probably the most sinister, because you can't actually detect it sometimes. Someone in the background might be smoking. And the sad part about second-hand smoking is that it also like indirectly leads to first-hand smoking. Like a child whose father or a parent has been smoking more commonly is not only exposed to secondhand smoking, while they grow up, they are also common to developing that habit, because children learn from adults. So secondhand smoking is probably one of the most hidden types of smoking that exists, and also it's probably one of the most dangerous. Okay, this number, I want everyone to look at this number and try to count it properly, because it is a lot. This is 1,171 crores. Like it's not 100 crores, not 10 crores, it's 1,171 crores. And this was in the year 2011, where for people who were aged from 35 years to 69 years, this much amount of money was spent due to tobacco use. Like totally all people who were aged from 35 years to 69 years in Tamil Nadu spent about 1,171 crores due to tobacco use, in which 79% was directly due to medical costs and 21% was indirect morbidity causes. So there are a lot of issues that go into economic hazards. You can argue that, health care needs to be more accessible and cheaper so that it doesn't have to induce so much cost. But another issue is that this can also be prevented if people stop smoking. So this is the economic hazard of tobacco, which is looked over very frequently. Okay, now it's time to talk about Children Against Tobacco, or as we like to call it, CAT. It is a student movement to work towards a tobacco-free environment, meaning this is for the students, by the students, and it is led by the students. So through a student body, the main aim of CAT is to develop responsible citizens for the future, because children are future adults. Like we are going to be leading the world, and we need responsible citizens for that. So children between the age group of 8 and 18 years are eligible to become part of Children Against Tobacco. And is anything the matter? Hello? Hello? Yes? If there's anything to say, can anyone please say it? Otherwise, I would kindly ask you to mute your mic. Okay, we will continue. So, okay, so let's talk about children against tobacco. So as I was discussing, anyone between the age group of 8 and 18 years are eligible to become a part of Children Against Tobacco. It is present at both the school and community levels, meaning you can do it as part of your school and you can also do it as part of your community. So I personally got involved with CAT 6 to 7 months ago, and it has been a very enlightening experience, which I will talk about later. So let's talk about activities of a CAT unit. So first of all, creating a tobacco-free zone around 100 yards of a school and also conducting survey of the zone. So this might sound intimidating, but basically it's to ensure that if areas around your school are tobacco free, and if you see any fallen cigarettes or any signs of tobacco usage around 100 yards of your school, then you can report it, and we will talk about that later. So it's also educating your peers on the hazard of tobacco usage and how the tobacco industry kind of tricks us into using tobacco as we grow older. So I think this is perhaps the most important one, because peer pressure is a thing, right? Like we all get pressure to do things that we don't want to do. But what if we used it to do good things? Like what if you spoke to your friends about the harmful effects of tobacco? You might get like fun about it, like people might make fun of you about it, but it is very important that we tell our friends about the hazards of tobacco, because it's their life and we care about them and we also care about ourselves. So educating our friends about the hazards of tobacco is one of the activities of CAT unit, and also sensitizing our parents and community about the hazards of tobacco and motivate them from relaxation. Like, oftentimes we talk about how parents influence children, but a lot of times, children can also influence parents and family members. So if you have a parent, or if you have a parent or any kind of family members who's not aware of the hazards of tobacco, then you can go and talk to them about it. CAT also holds like competitions about painting, drawing, essay writing, and everything is related to eradication of tobacco. These painting, drawings, and essays are just really beautiful, and in the end, they are made into posters and magazines, and they are honestly a work of art. So also conducting CAT's Day Out, which is where you take which is where you go out and you monitor tobacco free zones to see whether any tobacco control is being violated. And after that, also conducting monthly meetings to share, evaluate, and initiate new activities. Meeting with fellow members and talking about the activities is also an important part. And then also reporting violations through the Tobacco Monitor app, which I will be talking about the app in a few minutes. So now let's talk about smoking in youth. So 9 out of 10 people start smoking before 20. This is something that personally makes me very sad, because children are just so innocent, and the more they grow up, the more they get exposed to things such as smoking, and starting to smoke before 20 is an indication of how tobacco has been marketed to society as a whole. Like most of them are influenced by idols who we admire, but they're actually just actors who are acting according to a script. And also smoking among family members like father or grandfather, or even like female family members who smoke, have great influence on us. So let's talk about idol worship and peer pressure. This is something that I personally like. I have a story about it. One of my family members, they talked about how there was a movie in which there was an actor whose name was Rajnikant. I mean, you guys might know about him, like he's very famous. So in a movie, he had this scene where he had a cigarette in his hand and he was just like flipping it again and again, as like if he flipped it 10 times, then someone would give him an Innova car or something like that. So after seeing this, my family member, basically when he was a child, he saw this movie and he was like, wow, this is really cool and this is what cool people do. And he came home, rolled up a piece of paper, kept it in his mouth and pretended that he was smoking like Rajni. So needless to say, their family were really angry and they spoke to him about the fact that it was just the movies and that it would probably lead to his demise one day. So people think that movies are just movies, but they are not. Movies have a great influence on us. Like we learn more from movies and storybooks than we learn from actual textbooks. And due to all of these like movies showing us that the heroes and the cool people smoke, and in the end they win against the villain, we also think that okay, smoking is cool and it's just heroism, which it is not. Like, so there was this movie called Leo that came out. It was very popular, and though the movie in the end they destroy the tobacco factory and a lot of things happen, but there is a scene in which the father, who's played by Vijay, asks the son to not tell a secret to his mother, and the response that the kid has to the father is that please don't tell my mom that I started smoking, and then they both like laugh and that's the end of the scene. Scenes like these are just really, really harmful because number one, it makes kids feel like cool parents are the parents who are willing to keep secrets that their kid is smoking. And also it makes you think that cool kids are the kids who smoke, which by the way, it is not cool at all to smoke, to drink, to do anything that is harmful to your body in the long term or in the short term. That is not cool. You are being irresponsible, and it is a harsh world that we live in, and it's easy to succumb to peer pressure and to do things just because others are doing them. But I implore you to not do it and to think about one moment before you start smoking or you take alcohol. All these things will catch up to us in the future. So that is idol worship and peer pressure. And this is a topic that I'm really passionate about because I see friends of mine who, talk about smoking and drinking in like a cool way. So let us not do that. So next we have rules and regulations. So smoking, all public places are supposed to be smoke-free zones, and tobacco advertising, promotion and sponsorship is banned, and all tobacco products should have health warnings. If you see like a fallen packet somewhere, then you might like a cigarette packet somewhere, you can see like health warnings on it. And all tobacco products have high taxes so that it's difficult to buy and ship. Next up, let's talk about the Tobacco Monitor app. So Tobacco Monitor app is an app which is created by MAP, which is Marianne Charity Trust. So through the app, you can do a lot of things. You can get support from other cat leaders. You can be a volunteer through the app. You can, take photos when people are, when someone is smoking in a public area or they've dropped a cigarette somewhere around school areas. You can take photos. There are many updates and initiatives that take place through the app. E-learning, there are lots of courses and stuff which have facts about that, and there are campaigns, and of course there is much more information about CAT and TNPFTC, which is Tamil Nadu's association about tobacco control. And we also have Quit Tobacco, which talks about how you can quit tobacco. So if you ever see anyone who's violating the rules of tobacco control, such as the smoking near schools, or if you see a movie scene in which the actor is smoking and there is no warning below, you can report that in the app and they will respond within a few days. So here are the phases of a complaint. As I mentioned before, you can complain, and these are the phases. Number one, you will get verified. Your complaint will get verified, and then after that, you can launch a formal complaint, which is where you can actually send it to authority figures, and then after that, you can have follow-up, and then further follow-up, and then your complaint will be addressed. So let's talk about the 100 yards regulation. So 100 yards is roughly equal to 91 meters. So let's say here we have a school that's called Church Park School, which is like a run school. So around this school, 100 yards will be covered, and around these 100 yards, there should be no signs of smoking, no signs of tobacco usage, and vendors cannot sell tobacco, they cannot use tobacco, no one can smoke within these 100 yards. And this is only called as monitoring process of 100 yards. So if you ever see, someone violating this rule, you can send it in the tobacco monitoring app. So, okay, now I would like to talk about an example of something that CAT did, which is in the movie Sarkar. There are multiple posters in which the hero Vijay was smoking, and there were no warnings below, and it was being circulated everywhere. So, CAT members talked about this, and then they sent it to the government saying that this is a violation, and in the end, that poster was eliminated. So, yeah, these are other examples. So, we all know that schools everywhere nowadays, they issue classmate notebooks, right? And what is wrong with that? It's just classmate notebooks. No, classmate is part of a bigger brand called ITC, which actually stands for Indian Tobacco Company. So their main source of income is actually tobacco. So you might be wondering, why would a national tobacco company start selling notebooks and pencils? Well, the thing is, the more you see a brand, the more you get familiarized with it. So when you see, the classmate notebook, there'll be a little triangle which says ITC. So the more you see it, the more you get familiarized with it. And when you grow older and you see that ITC sign on cigarettes, you're going to be like, oh, this is, part of my childhood. And it's kind of just hypnotizing children, or at least making the logo more familiar to them. So it's kind of brainwashing in a way, and brands like Classmate should not be distributed in schools, because you're actively or at least passively encouraging children to smoke when they grow older, which is not okay. And I didn't know about this either until I came to CAT. So I would like to thank CAT for educating me about this. So you can see that there was this even handwriting Olympiads conducted by Classmate, which was banned because, it's part of ITC, which is a tobacco company. So that is it. Before that, I would also like to talk about, 1 minute, I'll stop presenting. I would also like to talk about toffee. So you might be wondering, what is toffee? So toffee stands for, so toffee is a regulation, and it stands for Tobacco-Free Educational Institution, which, as we talked about, around 100 yards of the school, there should be no signs of tobacco, and no one should be helping a vendor sell tobacco. So if a school is under toffee, then they must not participate in any event which is in relation to companies that sell tobacco products, such as Classmates. So a lot of you might understand right now that our schools are not toffee, because they still continue to distribute Classmate notebooks, which is not okay. So that's why toffee was brought in, so that more schools are able to understand what is going on here. And if an institute is following all these rules, they will be subject to evaluation, in which later an authority will come and they will evaluate and see whether the school is according to toffee guidelines, and in the end, they'll get a toffee certificate. So the revised guidelines were sent on World No Tobacco Day, which is on May 31, and it gives you a series of activities that schools and institutes can undertake. So that is toffee. And that is what I wanted to talk about today. I hope none of you were bored. This is a topic that I'm really passionate about, and I hope I was able to make a difference. If any of you is interested in getting involved with CAT more, or you want to talk with me about CAT, feel free to do so, and we will drop our emails, our numbers below, so that you can talk with us more about CAT, and if you want to get involved. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I think now we can open up the floor for discussion time. If any of you have doubts or feedback or want to, engage in discourse, we will start talking about it. So the floor is open for discussion.
Hi, good evening. This is Dr. Rakesh Gupta from Jaipur in Rajasthan. I'm absolutely delighted and impressed with your presentation, Prajna, and earlier the communication from Atul. Despite his illness, he has been able to come on board and make his views clear and share his experience. I have been working in tobacco control at national and state level for almost 22 years now in tobacco control. And I have been working with Cyril for that matter, nationally, and we do collaborate on some of the issues like tobacco-free generation. Now, my point is that you know all this, which is very good, but what about the rest in the group? Have you been able to assess, are they all CAT certified, or they are at different levels of their empowerment in tobacco control? Have you been able to assess that?
So some of them are my friends who want to get introduced to CAT. Some of them are CAT members. So this was meant to be like a gateway into CAT. So some of them are CAT members and some of them are my friends. And we will continue to hold more webinars to educate people.
Okay. So that's great, actually. And I thought we should also think of the future and the end game for tobacco. Have you heard of this end game of tobacco?
No, I have not heard about this.
End game is being talked about now globally as well as in India, that there should be a total stoppage on the sale of commercial tobacco, and it should be done through the policy as well as creating a legislation so that the tobacco doesn't become available at all to the people. And there are timelines which have been set by different countries and also by some of the cities. So that's one initiative which I think requires to be considered in the country also, and more people should be talking about it. But you can't really eat the entire elephant. So the best way is to take some more smaller steps, like creating tobacco-free generation. You are already creating tobacco-free environment, but taking it beyond that tobacco-free environment, creating a tobacco-free generation means that we can decide at the state level or at the national level that after a particular cutoff date, we can call it birthday restriction. Say, for example, the children who are born on or after 1st January 2009 or 2011, or maybe it's 2005, as I have known of CAT, that they will never be able to get tobacco products, or they will never use tobacco products throughout their lifetime. So that is one aspect which I think should be talked about for the youth, by the youth, as well as to the youth. Because if there is a stronger voice for tobacco-free generation, what it will do is that it will create a gap between those who are currently using tobacco and those who will never use tobacco. So that will reduce the burden of tobacco in the country and the states also. Am I making sense?
Yes, doctor, you're making sense. I'm able to understand.
Okay. So did you know about this tobacco-free generation?
Yes, I think during my training, Cyril uncle spoke to me about this, but I wasn't sure if it was completely implemented, which is why I didn't involve this.
It has not been implemented anywhere in India. So I think Karnataka is one place where it is being considered at the state level. We have started working on it in Rajasthan as a part of the project. There are two more states. Tamil Nadu is one, of course, and then the Haryana is also working on it. So we are developing some strength on it. The second aspect, I think, which requires to be talked and should be known to the youth is tobacco vendor licensing. That tobacco should not be available everywhere. It should not be available. It should not be sold by those who are not having a license to sell tobacco. After all, as you have already stated, that it's an addictive substance. It kills half of its users if they are lifetime users by tobacco-related illnesses. And nicotine addiction is worse than the addiction of the other substance addictions like heroin, cocaine, etc. It is time that the entire country wakes up to it and develops the system of tobacco vendor licensing, that tobacco should not be sold by anybody else who does not have license, and only the license holder should be selling only tobacco, nothing else. That is required, because currently the tobacco is sold by several other shops to maintain their customership. That's all, primarily. And it has a large sort of profit margin. That is why they sell tobacco. But I think that should become the thing of past eventually. So these are 2-3 aspects that I wanted to share with you: tobacco vendor licensing, tobacco free generation, and both these taking us, and third, the raising of the taxes on tobacco products. What GST has done is that in many of the states and for most of the tobacco products, the products have become cheaper instead of becoming costlier. So we need to have higher cess, particularly on BDs and on smokeless tobacco, so that these also become less affordable by the poor people who suffer the most or who use the tobacco most. So tobacco vendor licensing, tobacco free generation, and raising the taxes are 3 issues which can take us rather quickly to the end game of tobacco. And the end game should always have a timeline attached to it. That means at some point we should not keep working without a timeline. That is one thing which requires to be understood. And therefore, we have been working at national level to say that India should become tobacco free by 2030. If you do not know, we already have a hub for endgame at the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences and Research at Chandigarh, PGI as it is commonly known. It also has a website, which is ERTC website. There's a lot of information which is available here. And if Cyril, I can ask Cyril to share, or I will share the link to it. You should all know that it's a very good storehouse of lot of information, circulars which are available, the publications which are being made, the presentations which are being done. I think those are some of the things which I wanted to share. So thank you very much for giving me this time to interact, Sakina, and back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. This was a very interesting information. Would anyone else like to go ahead and talk during discussion time?
We usually have this problem that people do not interact when they are asked to interact. They should all keep their videos open. It is always encouraging that everybody interacts. And this does not happen even when we are working physically. But it's important to ask questions if you understand, or if you have to make comments, you should, because that is how we learn from each other.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay. So, Shakina, would you like to talk about how you felt during the webinar?
First of all, I would actually like to thank our keynote speaker, Guru and I, Rachna, for giving us such a wonderful insight. About your whole presentation, it was actually really concerning to see the shocking statistics of all the tobacco-related things. It was, personally for me, it was actually really quite concerning to see that 9 out of 10 people in the whole teenage area are actually affected by tobacco. And also, as you said, smoking is quite becoming an aesthetic, which is really promoted in movies, as you said. As I said. So I feel like this is a really interesting opinion because Vijay is a really popular actor, and him promoting this way would actually give a negative feedback on the younger audience, given that how influential he is and all. So I feel, as you said, there should be a warning, there should be a disclaimer at the end saying the usual disclaimer: smoking is injurious to health, prohibited, and all. That's it. Thank you. But thank you, Rachna, for the exciting presentation.
Thank you very much. I am aware that Vijay is a very popular actor indeed, and I have enjoyed his movies, but I do think that the amount of influence he holds could be used to do good in society, which was observed in the movie Master, where he quits drinking in the end, which was a wonderful, honestly, one of my favorite moments in the movie. And I only wish that more moments like this come in movies so younger kids who idolize Vijay can understand that, these things are not cool, and going against tobacco and alcohol should be the new cool. So I hope any kids watching this understand that it is okay to like Vijay, but don't follow everything that he does. That is all. So if anyone else would like to go ahead and talk, they can do so now. Otherwise, I think we can move on to the vote of thanks.
I have a question. I want to learn from you as to how can you become more effective? How do you want adults to participate and support you? Can you respond to these questions?
Okay, in terms of adults, I think the first thing that you can probably do is maybe show children more movies and more because I feel if you show them straight up documentaries and if you show them like videos about like cancer, they're bound to get scared or bored. So maybe if there are movies where there is positive representation of quitting tobacco and quitting alcohol, where someone who's refusing tobacco is shown to be the responsible one, showing children movies like that would be a great start if you are a parent. I think another thing that you can do is make sure that children don't buy products that are, under tobacco companies like ITC. A lot of parents are not aware of the whole classmate thing. So if that is something that people can afford to do, like not purchase classmate, then they should go ahead and do so. And having healthy discussions about tobacco with children and educating them should be a help. So that is what I can think of right now.
Thank you.
Hi.
Did
Am I
you
audible?
You are audible, yes.
Yeah. That was a wonderful presentation with a lot of information. It's just my 2 cents. You're talking about, the media influence on children, actually. As children, you're doing wonderful, you have wonderful initiatives. Why don't you bring in some media person, actually, maybe someone who's, who will be coming forward for this against tobacco? You can use that person as an ambassador in your future programs. Like, if you want, we can refer someone or we can connect you with those people. I think the same celebrities who are connect or anything, I'll be more than willing to help you on that, actually. Because the same celebrities can be used for the other side also. It's
Yes,
like a counteract.
Yes, that is a great suggestion, actually. So if you have any connections like you said, then definitely you can get in contact with
Because நாங்க வந்துட்டு like as adults நாங்க போய் பேசுறதோட as children if you reach out to that celebrity I'm sure they would come forward. It's not, I know most of the media personalities have done enough damage to the society, but at the same time there are few personalities, celebrities, I think they coming forward to help you for sure. I think you tap those person and then that can have a bit of impact on the society also. I feel
If I may give a response here,
celebrated for the counteract also.
yeah, if I may give response to Chitra ji, perhaps I think you should understand that when the celebrities enter in a contract to advertise a surrogate, do a surrogate advertisement, they have a duration for which they have to be in the contract, and their advertisements will continue. So we have worked with some of these celebrities, and we have known that they, even if they want to withdraw, if they did not know it initially as to what harm it is going to create, their withdrawing is difficult. But the scenario is becoming worse, that even the sports personalities are getting into it. So I think it is just
They're
with the
bound in the
individual.
contract you're trying to say.
Please listen. Yeah, that it is the greed of the individual. People like Sunil Gavaskar or Viren Sehwag or Chris Gale, if they are coming into it, this is not good for us. And I think we must protest it more. We must not get these people on our platforms, because they are the people who have enough intelligence to understand what is harmful. Because there are people like Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar who have decided not to go for these advertising these products. So I think getting those products will be will be much better for the children, rather than getting those who are already advertising and causing harm to the communities and the children.
No, actually, that's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
People
Yeah.
who are going to support, tap those personalities. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, thank you.
Not otherwise.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I may say this, we actually have a music video which was conducted by CAT, in which there are media personalities who, they made a song about it, and these are not mega famous people, but they are celebrities. And if I can get the link to the YouTube video where they are dancing to like No Tobacco, that song, that would be great. So Yegashri ma'am, if you can drop the link to the video below.
Can you give me 2 minutes? I'll drop it.
Yes. So, Chitra ma'am, that was a great suggestion, and I definitely do think that there should be celebrities who will be willing to, promote.
There are celebrities. I will not deny that. At least say 2 out of 100 will be there.
Yes. So we will work on maybe connecting with them and requesting them to be present for such webinars, because number one, like you said, I feel like children will be ready to listen to them more than us. And secondly, I think a lot more people will be coming to these webinars if such actors or actresses or celebrities or sportspersons or whatever attend. So that was a great suggestion which we will be taking note of. So any other feedback / discussion or opinions that you want to share? The link has been dropped below, the link to the YouTube video. I request everyone to go and watch it if you are interested. It is a very entertaining video. And yes, so if anyone else, if no one else has anything to share, I would like to request Shakina Barik to talk about the vote of thanks.
Well, actually, before I start, there's someone named Yalini who has their hands up. So maybe they have a question or something.
Okay. Yarni, do you have anything to say?
Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone. I am Yarni. I am studying 6th. Government Girls Higher Secondary School, Tirupur, Chengalpattu District, Tamil Nadu. I'm speaking to tobacco. Tobacco is a plant grown for its leaves, which are smoked, chewed, or sniffed. Tobacco contains a chemical called nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive substance. Millions of people in the United States have been able to quit smoking. All through the number of cigarette smokers in the United States has dropped in recent years. The number of smokeless tobacco users has steadily increased. Smokeless tobacco products of either placed in the mouth, cheek, or lip and sucked or chewed on or placed in the nasal passage. The nicotine in these products is observed at the same rate as smoking tobacco, and the potential of or addiction is still very strong. Both smoking and smokeless tobacco use carry many health risks. Symptoms: nicotine use can have many different effects of the body. It can decrease the appetite. Fear of weight gain makes some people unwilling to stop smoking. Boost mood, give people a sense of well-being and possibly even relieve inner depression. Increases activity in the intestines, create more saliva and phlegm. Increases the heart rate by around 10 to 20 beats per minute. Increases blood pressure by 5 to 10 milligrams. Possibly cause beating, nausea, and diarrhea. Stimulate memory and alertness. People who use tobacco often depend on it to help them accomplish certain tasks and perform well. Symptoms on nicotine withdrawal appear within 2 to 3 hours after you lost your tobacco. People who smoked the longest or smoked a greater number of cigarettes each day are more likely to have withdrawal symptoms. For those who are quitting, symptoms peak about 2 to 3 days later. Some symptoms include intense craving for nicotine, anxiety, depression, drowsiness, or trouble sleeping, bad dreams, and nightmares, feeling tense, restless, or frustrated. Treatment: It's hard to stop smoking or using smokeless tobacco, but anyone can do it. There are many ways to quit smoking. Thank you.
Thank you, Yarni. Like இவ்ளோ கத்துக்கிட்டு வந்தீங்க சொன்னீங்க சீரியஸா நீங்களே வெபினார் கனெக்ட் பண்ணிருக்கலாம். So thank you so much. It was wonderful. So next up, Rowan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Your hand is up. Would you like to say something? Rowan, would you like to say something? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. You are muted. So yes, thank you.
Good evening, Miss. I am Rowan from 10th standard, Miss. I am having a doubt about only ITC only is producing the notebooks of good quality, Miss. But other than everyone is producing a bad quality of notebook, Miss. If I go and ask the shop to for a good quality notebook, Miss, they are only showing buy this book, buy this notebook. This notebook only is more quality than other. This will be more. This will sustain more life. Can you?
Yes. Super question, actually. So basically, why? So you might be seeing more and more that ITC notebooks are being distributed. Like if I go to a shop and I ask good quality notebooks are available, they'll give you ITC. Part of the reason is because ITC actually pays the shops extra money so that they give you that notebook. So they are being paid to do that. So I would like to say that ITC is not just the good quality notebooks. If we ask the shopkeeper, they will say ITC only, because ITC is, first of all, they have a deal in which it's being sold cheaper, and also they get more money if they sell ITC notebooks. So if you ask the shopkeeper, they will tell you that ITC is the highest quality notebook brand. And before I got introduced to CAT, I too thought that ITC is the only option, but there are many other brands as well. I would suggest Camlin. Camlin is making really good notebooks. I use Camlin every day. So Camlin is amazing. If you live outside of Trichy, maybe in a more metropolitan city, there's this company called Store 67. I don't think it is available in Trichy and around that area though. So if you can access that brand, then that is great. Anil is a great local brand that sells notebooks, but I would probably recommend Camlin. Paper quality is really good and it looks just as good as Classmate. So if you don't have access to Classmate, other brands than Classmate, like area ITC is only available now, then obviously you might not have a choice. But getting aware that they are trying to fool you into getting into smoking later on is very important. Be aware that ITC is a tobacco brand and try to go for other companies like Camlin. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to go ahead, ask questions or share their opinion?
No.
Okay, so if no one else has any doubts or wants to share their opinion, I would like to request my dear friend Shakina to conduct the vote of thanks.
Before I actually conduct the vote of thanks, I actually wanted to say thank you to Roman and Yalini for coming up with the questions. It was really exciting to hear your questions and say Prachna answer that. With that out of my chest, I hope that all of you are feeling inspired and informed after our insightful seminar today. And on behalf of the entire chat group, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your presence and active participation in this crucial discussion on tobacco and its hazards. Our seminar today aimed to shed light on the critical issue of tobacco use and its detrimental effects on our health and society. It's heartening to see such a strong turnout from our community, including students, parents, educators, and our concerned citizens, all coming together to address this pressing issue. I also like to thank Prajna for giving such a wonderful presentation and clearing all of our doubts. Thank you, Prajna.
Thank you, Shakina. This was a very last minute request. We actually came up with this script like an hour ago. So thank you so much for conducting this vote of thanks and welcome address. It was wonderful. And someone named Lewin Caro has their hand up. I know the vote of thanks is over, but if you would like to ask a doubt or share your opinion, you are free to do so.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone, I am studying 5th standard. I'm living Cairo. Why schools are not giving any awareness on tobacco? They are celebrating other functions like Pongal, Diwali, but no programs on the day against tobacco. Why?
That is a beautiful question, Lewin. The thing is that I feel like a lot of people are, first of all, not like we all know that tobacco is bad, but the specific statistics and a lot of the other hazards. So those people don't really schools might not be aware of that. And second of all, I think it's also a matter of starting the trend. Like, you know how you see someone wearing a new dress and immediately 10 other people are wearing the same dress. Similar to that, you can go up and you can ask teachers about this. Talk to your friends, talk to the people working at the school, talk to your teachers and ask them, ma'am, why are we not having tobacco awareness day? And the more you talk about it, the more your friends talk about it, the more such awareness initiatives will be held all over the world. So I'm sorry that these kind of things are not being held more often. As children, we often think that everything is fine and that adults will take care of it. But we have to realize that we ourselves have the power, and I hope that this webinar gives you the initiative to go up to your teachers and ask them this question, because as far as I know, a lot of people don't have the awareness, and second of all, it is not done very commonly. So go up to your teacher and ask this question, and maybe you will start your own tobacco initiative at your school, and then inspired by you, our schools will also. So thank you for the question, Lewin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you, Lewin. Does anyone else have anything to share? I don't see anyone's hands up. So Shakina, would you like to tell the vote of thanks?
I must also extend a heartfelt thank you to our audience for their unwavering commitment to our cause. Your support has really been instrumental in making this event possible. And to the organizing committee, thank you for your tireless efforts in planning and executing the seminar flawlessly. Your dedication and enthusiasm have truly made a difference. So let's all take the knowledge that we gained today in this seminar and make sure to use it in day-to-day life and stand against tobacco usage. And I would also give a shout out to my friends Prachna for helping me with the speech, and also my friends Franz, Matthew, and Danyata for supporting me here. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Shakina. Thank you, Franz. Thank you, Danya. Thank you all for coming, and I hope to speak to you in the next webinar. So that is it for today. This is me, Prajna and Sakina, signing off. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you so much for attending.
There is a
Yes.
feedback link in the chat box.
Okay. I would also like to tell that there is a feedback link in the chat box, which feedback link. I'm not able to see the feedback link actually. Can you repost it again? It's okay, it's a while back.
Yeah, sure. I'll repost it again. And also the contacts are also there.
Yes, so there is an email through which you can get in contact with Kat if you want to become a leader like me. And there's also a number. If you don't have an email, there's also a number which again I'm going to be reposting so that you can see, and I'm going to be sending the email address below. So if you want to reach out and become a Cat leader, kindly do that. And finally, there is also a very funny and informative music video where we have famous people dancing to No Tobacco. So thank you everyone. Thank you for coming here, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Thank you for this opportunity and listening to me.